Hi. Good morning. Apat na matatapat ng mga mag-aaral. Anyway, mukhang maraming namumula sa klase na ito. Parang 5 o 6 ang bumagsak sa assessment. Tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari sa susunod na mga araw. I will now be presenting my screen and I will be discussing second to the last chapter before we proceed to TM. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, po, sir.
Okay. So, I hope you are all okay right now. Isa ang topic na ito sa pinaka-exciting na part ng pagiging teacher. We need transparency. Yung iba yung mayaman dito sa grading and reporting system. Kasi kung ikaw si teacher na nagpapabayad for the sake of grades, o kaya humihingi ng favor at nagbibigay ng special projects for the sake of grade, that is some kind of malpractice in our profession. So welcome to Chapter 9, Grading and Reporting System. Emerita Reyes, Erlinda Dizon, and Danilo K. Villena. Somebody read the SILO and CILO, please.
Section intended demonstrate skills in preparing and interpreting grades. Also, you should be able to assess the effectiveness of a student teacher and parents as a venue for reporting learners' performance. Chapter intended learning outcome. At the end of this chapter, you are expected to demonstrate skills in interpreting test results and reporting of grades.
Okay, thank you so much, Merle. Lesson content, we will be discussing the K-12 grading of learning outcomes. Pakitandaan that learning outcomes are objectives. Learning outcomes, ginagamit pag outcome-based education, ang approach sa pagtuturo. The effects of grading on students, building a grading and reporting system. The basis of good reporting is good evidence. Major purposes of grading and reporting reporting methods, and developing effective reporting system or the parent-teacher conference. Tools for comprehensive reporting system and guidelines for better practice, and how to plan and implement the PTC or the PTA meeting. So for the overview, the primary goal of grading and reporting is communication. Ito yung di ba, part ng pinag-usapan natin sa chapter 1 ng aralin na ito, that assessment should be communicated. So, ang primary goal, kaya tayo nag-grade at kaya tayo nagre-report is for us to communicate with the students, their performances, and make sure that their grades are reflection of their actual performances. And as well as we report grades to our superiors, like those master teachers or those principals, o kaya naman syempre, most especially to the parents of the students. Grading and reporting are integral parts of the instructional process. Hindi ito nawawala. Minsan, di ba, sa affective learning competencies na pinag-aralan din natin, kapag ang estudyante ay gumagawa, nagsasubmit at nag-aaral dahil sa grado, nasa first level pa lang siya ng kanyang affective domain. Parang nandun siya sa tinatawag natin na attending, nasa first step pa lang. Pagaman hindi natin gusto na ganun ang dahilan ng bata, pero marami talagang mga estudyante ang tumatrabaho at gumagawa because of grading. Number 3, good reporting is based on good evidence. Kung wala kang magandang ebidensya, wala kang exam na pagkuhaan ng grade, napahirap manghula, napakahirap tumingala at maghagilap ng ilalagay na grado sa isang bata. No. Ang prinsipyo, the more evidences, much better. Parang kaso din yan, mas maraming ebidensya, mas maraming patunay. So it's the same with grading our students. The more we have evidences, the more activities we give them, the more modules, the more quizzes, the more exams, but not to the point na magiging exhausting na yung ating klase. So changes in grading and reporting are best accomplished through the development of a comprehensive reporting system. It's very important. Ang reporting system ay dapat comprehensive kasi ang ating mga gradong iniuulat sa ating mga mag-aaral at sa ating mga magulang ay napakasensitibo. Pakitandaan po, ang mga grades po ng bawat isang bata, may data privacy po yung mga yan na karapatan. Hindi pwedeng basta binubuksan, hindi pwedeng basta ipinapakita sa ibang tao. It should be only the professor or the teacher and the students. Actually, sa data privacy, kapag walang consent ang bata, hindi pwedeng ipakita ang grade sa magulang. So without your consent, we can never give your grades to your parents. Kahit na dito sa loob ng campus natin, kapag magre-request ang magulang ng TOR, hindi siya bibigyan ng registrar's office unless authorized at binigyan siya ng unless authorized nyo siya bilang estudyante. So it is very important that we have comprehensive reporting system. Hindi basta hinaka ang mga grado. Alam niyo naman, lalo pag honor students, minsan naghahabol ang mga magulang, bakit mas mataas siya ng point something kaysa sa anak ko, ay samantalang ganito at samantalang ganyan. No. So, welcome to the first part. I hope na matapos natin ang lahat ng ating i-discuss ngayong araw na ito. Medyo mahaba, pero sikapin natin matapos. The first is the K-12 grading of learning outcomes. So, ano ang DepEd K-12 grading system? Ang K-12 Basic Education Program uses standards and competency-based grading system. Ang mga standards at competencies na ito ay makikita natin sa curriculum guides. Alam ko you're familiar with the curriculum guides. All grades will be based on the weighted raw score of the learner's summative assessments. The minimum grade needed para makapasa in a specific learning area, pag sinabi nating learning area, those were the subjects. Let's say oral communication, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, those were the learning areas. Para makapasa, ang minimum grade needed to pass a specific learning area is 60. That's the raw score, which is transmuted to 75 in the report card. Ang lowest rank or the lowest mark that can appear on the report card is 60 for quarterly grades and final exams. So walang bababa sa 60. For these guidelines, the department will use a floor grade. Pag sinabi ng floor grade, yun yung pinakamababa. So kahit na walang pinasok ng bata, kahit na walang kinwiz, walang in-exam, ang lalabas sa card, the floor grade. So the floor grade considered as the lowest possible grade that will appear in the learner's report card. Learners from grades 1 to 12 are graded on 3 parameters. Yung alam ko naging ito yung paraan kung paano kayo ginradan when you were in the senior high school. So tatlo, hindi siya recitation, hindi siya quizzes, hindi siya kung ano man. So it's written works. Kung may quizzes ka, di ipasa mo sa written works. Performance test. Those were the, pansin nyo kasi naka-OBE ang ating K-12. Kaya mataas at may may mataas na bahagdan o percentage na napupunta sa performance task, even in the secondary and junior level. And the third is the quarterly assessment every quarter. So tatlo lang po ang pinagkukuhaan ng grade. Written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessments. That's the quarterly exam. These three are given specific percentage weights that vary according to the nature of the learning area. So depende sa subject, nag-iiba ng percentage ang tatlo na ito. That will be discussed later on. So how is learner progress recorded and computed? Kapag kindergarten, gumagamit ang teacher ng checklist and anecdotal records or day-to-day experiences ng bata or narratives. Ginagamit ito instead of numerical grades. So, ibig sabihin, sa kindergarten, walang numerical grades. These are based on learning standards found in the kindergarten curriculum guide. It is important for teachers sa kindergarten that they should keep portfolio na may laman ng records or compilation of the learner's output katulad ng mga writing samples, accomplished activity sheets, and artwork. The portfolio can provide concrete evidence of how much or how well the learner is able to accomplish the skills and competencies. So wala kang makikitang 92, 93, 94 sa K-12 kindergarten except siguro kung private school. Minsan kasi pero ang gusto ng Departamento ng Edukasyon ay sumusunod ang lahat ng paaralan. Siyempre, mayroong sariling may autonomiya ang mga private schools, but most probably they should follow kung anong sinasabi ng basic education curriculum, yung enhanced na basic education curriculum or the K-12 program. Dapat ay walang numerical grades. Nandyan pa ba kayo?
Yes po, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Okay. Naiintindihan po ba natin?
Opo, sir.
Ano yung tatlong pinagkukunan ng grade? 1 to 12? Grades 1 to 12?
Written
Ano yung
work,
tatlo?
performance task, and quarterly assessment every quarter.
Okay. Yan. Pag kinder, paano ang grading?
Anecdotal po.
Paano grading ng kinder? Wala. Anecdotal, yes. And checklist. Parang may listahan lang ng mga dapat i-accomplish, then check. Nagawa po ng inyong anak, binigyan ko po ng star, you did a great job, very good. Yan. Ganyan ang grading sa ating kindergarten. So, sabi ko na. So, through checklist, the teacher will be able to indicate whether or not the child is able to demonstrate knowledge. So, kung walang check, hindi pa nagawa ng bata. Hindi pa niya na-perform yung task. Through anecdotal records or narrative reports, teachers will be able to describe the learner's behavior. So, ito yung part ng affective. Yung learner's behavior, yung attitude, yung effort in schoolwork ng bata, nag-iiyak, tumatay sa school, paano makipagkulitan, paano makipagkapwa-tao. Those were part of the narrative reports. Kaya medyo matrabaho ang pagkagrado ng kindergarten kasi wala siyang numerical grades. Kailangan meron kang anecdotal records. At kailangan meron kang checklist. Bukod pa yun sa kakulitan ng mga estudyante. Okay, let's go to kung saan tayo applicable, grades 1 to 12. In a grading period, there is one quarterly assessment, but there should be instances for students to produce written works and to demonstrate what they know and can do through performance tasks. So, isang buong quarter, ilang quarter meron sa isang school year?
Apat, sir, ata.
Apat ata. Parang hindi sure. Apat nga. Ilang linggo sa isang quarter? Ilang linggo sa isang quarter? O hindi nyo namamalayan? Kasi hindi naman yung dinidiscuss sa klase, di ba?
Yes.
Hindi, sir.
Isang quarter, 9 weeks. Yan na. Isang quarter, 9 weeks. Isang school year, 4 na quarters. Ilan ang minimum number of days na pinapasok dapat ng estudyante sa school, sa basic education? Ilang araw?
300.
Ilan?
365.
365. Walang bakasyon. 200. Yun ang ceiling. Usually, ang DepEd calendar naglalaro sa 204, 205. Yan. Huwag lalampas ang absence sa 20%. So, kung 20% ng 200, huwag kang lalampas sa bilang na yun kasi ikaw ay madadrop. Kanya nga lamang, basta, may mga anomalya sa paraan ng pagre-record ng absences. Yung kaklase mo, hindi mo na namalayan na hindi naman kasi napasok. Abay, pumapasa. No? So, ang tawag ko doon ay mga teaching malpractice and grading malpractice na dapat ay hindi ina-adapt, lalo na ng mga bagong teachers, pero nadadala ng sistema. Okay, so sa isang buong quarter, 9 weeks mong kaharap ang bata, may set of contents ka na kailangang ituro. At doon, in between, may formative assessment, may summative assessment, may performance-based assessment, pwede ring portfolio. Saan papasok ang portfolio? Sa tatlo. Written works, performance task, or quarterly assessment.
Written, sir, performance.
Performance could be. Pwede rin sa written kasi may mga sinusulat-sulat doon. Pwede rin nga siyang quarterly, isang buo. No. There is no required number of written works. So kung gusto mong madami, walang problema. Ano ako dyan? Tawag dito. Fan ako sa madaming written works at maraming performance tasks. Except sa quarterly assessment, syempre isa lang ang quarterly assessment palagi. Ini-schedule yan ng school. Pero nung ako'y nasa senior high school at kahit ngayong nasa college, napakadami ko laging written works. Kasi mas maraming ebidensya, mas mabuti. So, minsan umaabot ang written works ko ng 20 in a quarter. Kasi every lesson, I need to measure may natutunan ba ang estudyante. Kasi yun din naman ang laman ng lesson plan. Pagkatapos ng lesson, kailangan mo magpa-assessment. E di assess. Hanggang sa mag-accumulate. Kaya pag ikaw ay pala absent, ay di absent ka na, may grade ba ang attendance?
Yes po.
Wala, di ba?
Wala po recitation.
Oh, wala dun. Wala rin ng recitation, tama? Pero you can consider recitation as performance task. Ano? So, but this must be spread out over the quarter and used to assess learner skills after each unit has been taught. Yan. After each unit. Wag naman yung tipong turo, isang buwan, 4 na linggo. After ng 4 na linggo, ay saka pa lang mag-a-assess. Nagsasummative ka nun. Pwede yon, pero make sure na in between may formative assessment ka. No. So habang nagpo-progreso, make sure na meron kang nakukuhang numbers or grado sa mga estudyante. Mga kapag dating sa dulo, matatapos na, wala pa pala akong pinapagawa. Wala pa pala akong performance task. Which is contrary kung anong nilalaman dapat ng lesson plan. Bago i-approve ang lesson plan mo ng iyong master teacher, kailangan may performance task yan. Ang design pa man din ni K-12 ni OBE, nag-start lagi ang lesson sa activity bago ka magkakaroon ng abstraction o discussion. So, paano kinocompute ang final grades and general average sa DepEd K-12 grading system? So, the following are the steps in computing for the final grades. Step 1. Grades from all the student work are added up. Pinagpa-plus-plus lang. Ilan ang tama ni Naparato sa quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4, quiz 5? Or let's say written work 1, written work 2, written work 3. Ilan? Pagsasama-samahin mo yun. So this results in the total score for each component. Namely, ilan ang total sa written works, ilan ang total sa performance task, at ilan ang total sa quarterly assessment. Ang tawag dun ay raw scores. So the raw scores from each component have to be converted to a percentage score. So syempre, mula sa raw, kahit halimbawa, 5/10, ilang percent yun? So kailangan mo siyang i-convert into percentage score. This is to ensure that values are parallel to each other. So let's go to step 2. Pag natapos mo ng pag-plus-plus-plusin, the sum of each component is converted to percentage score. Ito ay hindi naman ito complex math. Yung kukuha ka lang ng percentage. So to compute the percentage score, you divide the score by the highest possible score, then multiply the quotient by 100%. Ito yung formula niya. So you have percentage score. Wait lang, gamit ako ng marker. Highlighter. Yan. The percentage score is equals to the total learner's raw score divided by the highest possible score. Ibig sabihin, kung si RB ay nakakuha ng 6 na tamang sagot sa 6/10, ano kanyang percentage score? Galing! 60. Kasi 6 divided by 10 times 100, so it's 60%. That's the percentage score. So that is the total. That is step 2. Step 3. Yung percentage scores ay kino-convert naman to weighted scores. Pansin niyo, di ba, sa grading system natin sa SLSU, meron tayong ilang percent ang quizzes, ilang percent ang major exam. So yun yung tinatawag natin na weighted scores. So you need to convert yung 60 or yung percentage score kanina into weighted score to show the importance of each component in promoting learning in the different subjects. So to do this, the percentage score ay minumultiply. Wait lang, may napasok. Dami nyo na pala. So to do this, the percentage score is multiplied by the weight of the component found in Table 1 for grades 1 to 10 and Table 2 for senior high school. So the product is known as the weighted score. So ano ang weight nung written works, nung performance task, excuse me, at saka ng quarterly assessment. Depende yan sa subject. Minumultiply lang ha. Ito yung weight ng components. Kung grades 1 to 10 ang estudyante mo, pag ang subject mo ay languages, let's say for example, Filipino, English, ang written works ay 30%, ang performance task ay 50%, ang quarterly assessment ay 20%. Pansin nyo si K-12, nagbihis na rin siya. Dati kasi, ang pinaka-inaabangan ng estudyante quarterly assessment, tipong pag pinasa ko ako sa subject, noong unang panahon. Pero ngayon, hindi na yun posible. O medyo imposible na siya. Kasi 20% na lang si quarterly assessment. Napakalaki ng performance task. So kung pala absent ka at wala kang performance task, paano mo ipapasa? May written work pa na 30. Kahit nga wala kang quarterly assessment, pag meron ka nitong dalawa, pwede kang pumasa eh. Pero it's the same with Araling Panlipunan din, ESP. Ano nga yung ESP?
Edukasyon sa pagpapakatao po.
Yan. Naiintindihan po ba ang ating mga pinag-uusapan? Kung paano nag-grade?
Po, sir.
Okay, sige. Tapos, science or science, pag science and math, magkaiba. Ang written work ay 40, ang performance test ay 40, ang quarterly assessment 20. Tandaan ha, pero meron naman yan, sinend ko yan sa Google Classroom na kagabi. For MAPE, EPP, or TLE, 20% ang written works. At tingnan nyo naman ang performance, 60%. Simply because alam nyo naman ang TLE, EPP, at MAPE, medyo kailangan nyo ng mas mataas yung physikalan. So, mas mataas ang performance task. And ang quarterly assessment is 20%. The grading system for senior high school follows a different set of weights for each component. So, magkaiba. Table 2 presents the weights for the core and track subjects. Yan. Ito ay grade 11 to 12. Written works, core subjects. Magbigay nga ng example ng core subjects ng senior high.
Oral com po.
Oral com. Ano nga yung PERDEB? Di ba may PERDEB kayo?
Personal development, sir.
Yeah, personal development. Yung GenMat, yung GenSci, mga ganun. That's core subjects. Ito yung mga subjects na kinukuha ng lahat ng kursong senior high school. That's the core subjects. Kapag core subject, 25% ang written works, ang performance ay 50, ang quarterly assessment ay 25. Sa iba pang mga subject, sa under ng academic track, so that's STEM, UMS, GAS, ano pa nga? Meron po ba? STEM, UMS, GAS.
ABM po.
ABM, okay. Pag ibang mga subjects, aside from the core, 25 si written, 45% si performance task, at si quarterly assessment 30. Pero kung ang subject mo ay work immersion, research, business enterprise simulation, or exhibit, and other performance-based na anyway, 35% si written work, 40% si performance task, and quarterly assessment 25. Kung ang course mo naman ay TVL, o kaya arts and design, o kaya sports, pare-pareho lang. All other subjects, work immersion, research, exhibit, performance, that's 20%. For written works, performance, 60%. And quarterly assessment, 20%. Pansin nyo, mataas din ang kanyang performance. So, the sum of the weighted scores in each component, ang tawag doon ay initial grade. This initial grade will be transmuted using the given transmutation table to get the quarterly grade. Ito yung transmutation table. Mamaya ha. Yan. Para makita nyo ng mabuti. Let's go to this one. Let's say, for example, anong subject nito? Grade 4, English. So, dahil grade 4 English si bata, this is learner A, learner B, and learner C. English grade 4 first quarter. So, English, 30% si written works. Performance task 50. quarterly assessment 20. Yung total highest possible scores. Let's say, sa unang written work, si learner A, naka 18 over 20. Si learner B, 19 over 20. Si learner C, 9 over 20. And so on hanggang dito. Ayan. Ito yung mga scores nila. Parang kayo lang din pag nag-quiz o kaya nagmo-module, ito yung mga grades. So, itong nasa taas, ito yung total o yung highest possible, yung perfect. Pag pinagsama-sama mo, the total is 160. Lahat. Si learner A, naka 145. Si learner B, naka 94 lang na tama. Si learner C, naka 54 lang. So, what you're gonna need to do is to get the percentage score. To get it, ay di 145 divided by 160 times 100, makukuha mo yung 90.63. 94 divided by 160, 58 times 100, 58.75. 54 divided by 160 times 100, 33.75. Nasusundan ba ga? Ha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, meron na tayong percentage score. Then, imumultiply natin yan kay weighted score. 30% si written works. So, 90.63 times 0.30, that's 27.19. 58.75 times 0.30, that's 17.63. And 33.75 times 0.3, that's 10.13. Okay, settle na tayo sa written works. Let's proceed with the performance task. Si learner A, 12 over 15. Si learner B, perfect, 15 over 15. Si learner C, 10 over 15. So, ang total na na-quiz, na performance task ay over 120. Si learner A, naka 100. Si learner B, naka 109. Si learner C, naka 63. Kita nyo na kung sinong babagsak, di ba? Mababang score. Tapos, kunin ang percentage scores. 83.33 si learner A, 90.83 si learner B, and si learner C ay 52.50. Ito ay 50%. So, si learner A ay 41.67. That's 83.33 times 0.5 or 0.50. Pareho lang yun ang lalabas. 90.83 times 0.5 and 52.50 times 0.5. So, ito na yung kanyang grade or weighted score sa performance task. For the quarterly assessment, over 50 ang kanyang exam. 40 itong isa ay 48. Talino. Itong isa ay 29. So, nakakuha ng 80 si learner A, 96 si learner B, at si learner C ay 58. Ang weighted score, 16, 19.20, and 11.60. Para sa initial grade, pagsasama-samahin mo lahat ng weighted score. So, that's 27.19 plus 41.67 plus 16 is equals to 84.86. Yung ay 82.25, yung isa ay 47.98. That's the initial grade. Tapos gagamit ka ng transmutation table na pinrovide ni DepEd. So hanapin natin si 84.86 sa transmutation table. Nakikita nyo ba ga? Naka-cellphone kayo? Pag naka-cellphone, pwede nyo yung presentation ko, anong tawag doon? I-zoom in. Yung ang grade, 84.86. So, nagpo-fall dito, si 84.86. Nakikita nyo ba yung highlighter ko?
Oo, sir.
Yan. So, sa transmutation table ni DepEd, ang grade ng bata ay ito, 90. Kaya naman siya ay 90. So, ganyan kayo ginradean nung kayo ay senior high school. Etong isa ay 82.25. So, si 82.25 ay nandito. That's 88. Kaya 88 ito. At itong isa ay 47.98. 47. Nasaan ka na? Ito. So that's 71. Kaya ito ay 71. Naintindihan ko paano nagko-compute ng grade? Ha?
Oo, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Itindihin at magko-compute kayo ng grade sa module, ha? Tapos, pansin nyo, ang 0 dito, 0 to 3.99, 60. So, pag walang pasok ang bata, absent, ay 60 ang lowest grade. Okay? Walang lalabas sa card na 59, o kaya naman ay 0 or 3 or 2 ang pinakamababa, 60. Let's go with the next. So, ito na nga yung steps for computing grades. Get the total score, divide, okay na yan, naintindihan nyo na yan. So, ito yung example nung katulad kanina. Ito yung listahan, may written work 1, written work 2, written work 3, written work 4, written work 5, written work 6, written work 7. Ito kanyang raw score. Ito yung highest possible score. Ito yung total. Ito yung total. Tapos performance task, highest possible. Tapos quarterly exam, highest possible. Then compute. Naintindihan nyo na to? Pwede bang hindi ko na discuss? Ha?
Yes, sir.
Opo, sir.
Okay. For MAPE, yan. Medyo komplikado si MAPE. Kaya minsan naiinis ang mga MAPE teachers kasi isa lang yung subject mo pero sa grading, 4. Magkakahiwalay kasi siya. So, individual grades are given sa bawat area. Iba ang grade sa music, sa arts, sa PE, at sa health. So, yung MAPE mo, may 4 kang grade na kino-compute. So, dapat may written works ka sa music. Diba? Kumbaga sa English, pwede ako magpa-written works ng halimbawa 5. Pero dito, hindi. Kasi dapat may, yung kasi katulad sa ibang subject area, lahatan yun. Dito, may written works ka na ba sa music, sa art, sa PE, at sa health? So, parang 4 na subject yung hinahawakan mo. So, the quarterly grade for MAPE ay yung average ng quarterly grades ng 4 na area, the music, arts, PE, and health. So, yung quarterly grade for music, plus quarterly grades for arts, plus quarterly grade for PE, plus quarterly grade for health, divided by 4, yun ang grade ng bata sa MAPE. Okay. And at the end of the school year, kompleto na yung card. Diba, ilang beses na PPTC, Parent-Teacher Conference, sa isang taon? Ilan ang ideal? Ilan dapat? Ha?
4, sir.
Ilan? 4. Pagkakatapos ng quarter, dapat nakikipag-usap sa parents, nanay. Huwag niyong gugulatin ang magulang na pagdating sa dulo, ay nanay, bagsak ko ang inyong anak. Tapos na ang taon. No, you are violating yung prinsipyo ng assessment. It should be communicated. Dapat after first quarter, una, na-warningan mo na ang bata bago ka pa makarating sa mga magulang. No? Na ipaunawa mo na sa bata na ganito ang mangyayari kapag ganito ang attitude mo at wala kang ganito at wala kang ganyan. Kapag ikaw ay nasa DepEd, hindi ka maubusan ng consideration na tipong, sige, I will extend my time after class to teach you. I will give you extra quizzes para makapasa. Bibisitahin kita sa bahay. Bibigyan kita ng module. Pupuntahan kita. Something like that. Walang gulatan sa grades. Kaya nagkakareklamuhan. Bigla-bigla na lang, bagsak na pala. Magugulat ang magulang. Mapaaway ka pa. So, you do your job to communicate the grades. At the end of the school year, kung kindergarten ng estudyante, wala nga numerical grades, gaya ng sinabi natin kanina. Descriptions of the learner's progress in various learning areas are represented gamit ang checklist and student portfolios. Kapag affective or behavior, anong ginagamit? Anong ginagamit? Kapag affective or behavior ng kinder?
Narrative report, sir.
Or, anong ibang tawag doon?
Anecdote.
Anecdotes. Yan. Anecdotal records. These are presented to the parents at the end of each quarter. Siyempre, kung kinder ang iyong estudyante, mas kausap mo ang magulang. Kumpara sa college, ang estudyante mo or senior high school. Mas malimit mong nakikita kasi araw-araw hinahatid. No? So, marami kang panahon para i-communicate yung performance ng bata. Additional guidelines on kindergarten program will be issued. Sabi yan ng DepEd. So for grades 1 to 10, ang average quarterly grades produces the final grade. So, yung first quarter grade, yung second quarter grade, average na to ha, and the third quarter grade, and the fourth quarter grade, ipa-plus-plus mo, divide mo ng 4, simple averaging, yan yung magiging final grade ng bata sa kanyang report card. So the general average is computed by dividing the sum of the final grades by the total number of learning areas. Each learning area has equal weight. So yung final grades ng lahat ng subject, pagpa-plus-plusin mo, i-divide mo sa kung ilang subject meron siya. Ngayon, dapat magkatali ito. Diba sa ilalim ng card ay merong first quarter grade average at second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. Yung average ng apat na yan, dapat tali sa average ng lahat ng subject. Minsan may discrepancy na point something, pero pag ni-round mo siya, dapat pareho siya ng lalabas. Kung medyo magkaiba, you recheck your computation. Si DepEd ay merong lesson, tawag dito? Class record template sa Excel na nag-o-automatic computes. So, nag-encode ka lang, encode. Lalabas na yung grade ng bata. Hindi mo na kailangang isipin kung ano yung magiging, depende sa subject din yon, may drop-down menu doon, ilalagay mo kung anong subject, tapos mag-a-adjust na yung kanyang weighted score ng kusa. So, dapat tally. The final grades about learning area at yung general average are reported as whole numbers. So, wala kang makikitang point something sa card ng bata except sa final grades, yung pinaka-total. Dati nga nakabuo pa rin yun eh. Pero ngayon, nilalagyan nila ng 3 decimal places para mag-differentiate ng mga grades ng mga kapwa mo estudyante. So, Table 8 shows an example of the final grades of the different learning areas and the general average of a grade 4 student. So, look. Yan. So, quarter grade, ito yung lalabas. Second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, final grades. Ito yung kanyang general average. Okay, so for grades 11 and 12, so kung grade 1 to 10, 4 ng quarter, di ba, pag senior high school, semestral, iba yung subject mo ng science ng first sem sa subject mo ng second sem. Kaya ang card mo, parang dalawa o kaya baliktaran. So, the 2 quarters determine the final grade in a semester. So, Table 6 shows an example ng grade 11, second semester for the accounting, business, and management strat. Pag second semester, anong quarter ang involved? Third and fourth. Kaya, yan. Ito, grade 11. Second sem, kaya quarter 3 and quarter 4 ang nakalagay. Ito yung mga subject, reading and writing skills, pagbasa at pagsusuri sa iba't ibang konteksto tungo sa pananaliksik, stat and prob, physical science, physical education and health. Walang mape si senior high. Alam nyo naman yan, nag-senior high naman kayo. For the applied, yan, yung mga subject na yan. So, dalawa lang. That's the second semester final grade. So, ito yung kanyang grade. Anong grade para maging honor?
90 po.
90 and above. Okay. So, according to the DepEd Order number 36 series of 2016, the policy guidelines on awards and recognition for the K-12 basic education program, pag teacher na kayo at gusto nyo mag-grade ng iba-iba pang, mag-award ng iba't iba pang awards, at bibisitahin yung DO na ito. But for now, ang pag-usapan lang natin ay honors. Pag with honors, ang average 90 to 94. With high honors, 95 to 97. Pag with highest honors, 98 to 100. Provided na wala dapat bagsak sa kahit na anong subject. So kahit ang grade mo ay pasa di 75. Kahit ang grade mo ay 79 or line of 7, basta yung total mo ay umabot dito, edi magkakaroon ka ng honor. Kanya nga lamang, kumbaga ay ang pinapangalagaan ng mga teacher, bakit ka baga naman magla-line of 7? Kaya mo naman palang maging honor, di ba? So, iniiwasan nila para maiwasan yung kontrobersya at the same time sa grading, but siya may line of 7, ay honor siya, edi mas mabuti pang I-convince mo na lang at i-encourage ang bata na mag-perform well para maiwasan niya ang line of 7. Okay? Tapos, meron ding yung hindi ko nakita physically yung DepEd memorandum or DepEd order na yon, pero ipinagbabawal sa paglalagay ng grado sa mga estudyante na bababa o tataas ng higit sa 5 hakbang ang grades. Let's say for example, ang first quarter ni RBI 86, tas bumaba ang kanyang performance, pagdating niya ng second quarter ay naging 79. Lampas yun sa 5, that's 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. 7 step yun. Pinagbabawal yun. Dapat ay at least, ang maximum ay 5 lang ang pagitan. Tumaas ng 5 o bumaba ng 5, hanggang dun lang. Paglalampas dun ay hindi. Paano po kung talagang gano'n naman ang performance po ng estudyante? Pwede naman be honest and reflect it to the report card. Minsan naman yun ay pinapayagan. Basta reasonable. Okay. Ano ang effect ng grading sa estudyante? Kayo, anong epekto ng grade sa inyo? Sige nga. Merle.
Ano po sir, nakaka-motivate po kapag po, pero kapag po yung mababa, tapos kahit po binigay mo yung best mo, parang po siya. Yung
Nakakalungkot,
Opo.
Yung binigay ko yung grade mo, masaya ka ba?
Opo, sir.
Sige. Palungkotin natin.
Hindi po.
may effect ang grade sa ating mga estudyante. Napakalaki. So, una, according to the study of Page noong 1958, sobrang tagal na nito but still valid. Mga classic philosopher. It illustrated that while grades may not be compulsory for teaching, hindi naman talaga compulsory for teaching or learning, diba, natuto ako. Wala akong pakialam sa grade, basta natuto ako. So it is not a compulsory for teaching or learning. Actually, sa Finland, walang grade na ginagamit ang educational system nila. And they are ranking sa top 1, 2, 3 ng education system sa buong mundo. And one of the things that they practice, they do not provide numerical grades. It can be used somehow, yung grading, in positive ways. Kasi it enhances students' achievement and performance. Yung tipong, pag nalaman mo yung grades mo, it gives some form of encouragement and reflection as well na, oo nga, ito nga yung performance ko. O kaya naman, pwede rin namang kapag hindi comprehensive ang reporting system ni teacher, magugulat ka kung bakit biglang ganito ang grades ko. Saan ito nanggaling o saan ito kinuha. Second, it showed that positive effects can be gained with relatively little effort on the part of the teachers. Maliit lang yung effort na nagbigay ka lang ng grade, nag-compute ka at ibinigay mo lang sa kanya. Tapos, malaki yung effect nito sa estudyante. Especially kung younger ang iyong pupils, yung stamps pa lang or your stickers with standard comments such as this could be easily produced for teachers to use. Pero yung effect nun sa bata, yung tinatakan mo lang siya sa kamay, that's a very simple effort na magtatak, but it has a very significant positive effect on the student's performance. So, building a grading and reporting system, ang basis ng magandang reporting system ng grado ay syempre, gaya ng sinabi natin kanina, meron kang maayos at magandang ebidensya. Whatever the format, grading and reporting should provide high-quality information. Huwag kang dampot ng dampot sa kung saan-saan na ikagrado sa estudyante. To interested person by means of any schema they can understand and use, especially the parents. Minsan hindi naiintindihan ng magulang, paano ba ginegradean ng teacher na ito ang aking anak? Basta naiintindihan ko, pag ganito ang grado, bagsak. Pag ganito ang grado, ay pasado. So, do not forget to always communicate with the parents, especially kapag nasa basic education. Mas bata ang estudyante, mas communicated dapat sa mga magulang. High-quality information is critical evidence on the student learning and grades must be ready at hand. Yan. It should be computed immediately. Pag natapos ang isang quarter, dapat yung kasunod na linggo o kaya, let's say, mga 2 linggo man lang na pagitan ay handa mo nang ipakita ang grado. laging mag-update ng grade every day, mag-record ng mga quizzes na pinapagawa, mag-check palagi ng mga performance tasks o kaya ng mga modules na sinasabit ng estudyante. So there are 3 qualities to the goodness of evidence. Una, it should be valid. Pag sinabing valid, your data should be appropriate and adequate, sapat, sakto, hindi kokonti, hindi sobrang dami. So if an assessment is to be used to describe the student's reading comprehension, make sure na yung evidence mo ay talagang nagre-reflect ng reading comprehension at hindi ng iba pang mga relevant factors. Kung comprehension ang pinag-uusapan, wag mong isama ang intonation or iba pang mga factors. Tandaan natin, kumukuha tayo ng assessment sa kung ano ang nakalagay sa objectives or learning outcomes. So, lahat yan aligned. So, sa dulo, kung nakalagay sa umpisa, kung nakalagay sa learning outcome mo is to construct concept map on assessment. Sa dulo, dapat ganun yung exam, ganun yung assessment, ganun yung performance task, tapos, yun yung get-gradean mo. Next is reliability. Make sure that your data are reliable. It refers to the consistency of assessment results. Yung tipong, yung score ng bata na nakuha, kapag ginamitan mo ng ibang pamamaraan, same score ang lalabas. That's reliability. Attain very similar scores when the same assessment procedures are used with the same students at 2 different times. Kaya minsan napansin niya may mga teacher na, sige nga, ulitin nga natin yung exam. Tingnan natin kung ganun pa rin ang lalabas. So the score should be the same. Results have a high degree of reliability. So dapat ay may validity at may reliability. The third is the quantity. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. The more sources of evidence ng students' learning, the better information can be reported. So any single source of evidence of student learning can be imperfect. It is essential that multiple sources of evidence, yung parang yung katulad ng sinasabi ko sa picture, mas maraming pixel, mas nadidefine o mas sharp yung image. So mas maraming assessment, mas madidefine mo o ma-reflect mo yung learning ng estudyante. So these were the 3 qualities. Ano nga ulit yan? Ano yung tatlo? Okay, thank you. So, what are the major purposes of grading and reporting? First, to communicate the achievement status of students to parents and others. That's one. Second, to provide information that students can use for self-evaluation. Pag nag-gradean mo, maiisip ng bata, magre-reflect yan na, ito pala yung grades ko. Kailangan kong i-improve ito. Itong bahaging ito. At kailangan kong pag-usayin yung ganitong part ng aking pag-aaral. And of course, to select, identify, or group the students for certain educational path or program. Especially sa sa pagpunta ng senior high, makita mo na, mas mataas pala ako sa math o kaya sa sciences at gusto ko pala ang math and sciences effectively. So, madidetermine din ng bata o ng teacher na, bagay ito sa STEM. O kaya mahusay siya sa social sciences, pwede ito sa UMS or sa sports. So, pwede nating magamit ang grading and reporting. At the same time, di ba, bago kayo pumasok sa college, tinitingnan ang inyong average grade. Kasi binagbabasihan yan kung tatanggapin kayo o hindi sa isang program. Okay. Next is to provide incentives for students to learn. Grade are some form of incentives somehow. Nakakatuwa kasi siyang matanggap kung mataas. To evaluate the effectiveness of instructional programs, kung bumabagsak ang madami, kalahati ng klase o higit pa, baka may problema sa instructional program. Baka may problema sa paraan ng pagtuturo o sa paraan ng pagsulat ng mga examination. O baka may problema sa curriculum. To provide evidence of students' lack of effort or inappropriate responsibility. So saan natin kinukuha ang ating mga grades? Kinukuha natin yan sa major exams or composition, sa quizzes, sa reports, sa projects, sa students' portfolios, exhibits of students' work, laboratory projects sa notebooks or journals ng estudyante, class observation for effective grading, oral presentation, homework quality, class participation, work habits and neatness, effort, attendance, punctuality of assignments, class behavior or attitude, and yung progreso ng ating estudyante. Grading and reporting methods, meron tayong 4. We have letter grades, percentage grades, standards-based grading, and pass or fail grading. Ang ginagamit natin sa Pilipinas, edi itong percentage grades. Pero may ibang mga university na gumagamit ng letter grade katulad ng Ateneo o kaya sa ibang bansa. Meron din namang pass or fail na subjects. Okay. Ang letter grades, ito yung A, positive, A, negative, B, positive, B, negative, C, tapos hanggang F. F yung fail. The most common and best known of all grading method is the letter grades kasi kilala ito sa ibang bansa. Mostly composed of 5-level grading scale. Usually, schools include a key or legend on the reporting for clarity. Kung naabutan nyo yung early stage ng K-12 curriculum, gumagamit tayo ng grades na P, AP, that's also letter grades. Yung approaching proficiency, proficient, advanced. Yan. Pag nakita mo na ang grade mo ay A, medyo mataas yung A. That's letter grade. Pero binago ito ng DepEd later on in the implementation of the K-12. Kaya nyo na lang itong advantages and disadvantages. Next, we have the percentage grades. Ang ultimate multi-category grading method can range from 0 to 100. Ang perfect, 100. Generally, more popular among high school teachers than elementary teachers. So, ito yung 97.22, 32.4, something. Yan. 0 to 100, it exists. That's the percentage grades. Next is the standards-based grading. So, in an effort to bring greater clarity and specificity to the grading process, many schools initiated standards-based grading procedures and reporting forms. Ganito ang itsura ng standard-based report card. Ganito yung traditional. Ito yung percentage. Ito yung letter grade. Pag standards-based ay ganyan. I can define a number sentence 2. I can solve number sentences that have brackets 2. I can solve number sentences that have braces 3. Parang rating scale. Medyo ganito ang, pero hindi siya 100%, pero medyo ganito ang paraan ng pag-grade sa SLSU. Kaya lang, may mix tayo ng percentile. Let's say, like 98 to 100, flat 1. So, ang makikita mo sa card is 1, hindi 95, hindi A. Ang makikita mo ay 1.0, 125, 1.5. So, that's standards-based report system or grading system. Ang fourth type ng grading system is the pass or fail grading. Ito ang pinakasimpleng alternative grading method available to educators. Reduces the number of grade categories to 2. Dalawa lang ang pagpipilian. I do not care kung 99 ka at itong isa ay 75. Basta pareho kayong pass or fail. Ito ay ginagamit ni TESDA. Kahit na sobrang ganda ng gawa mo o ng pagkakaluto mo, pero di pasado ka sa NC. Tapos yung kabila, hindi naman masyadong maganda at masarap ang pagkakaluto. Pero nakapasok pa rin siya. So, pass pa rin yun. So, it's pass or fail grading system. Sa graduate program, sa master's degree at saka sa doctorate, ang thesis and dissertation, most of the time, ay pass or fail. So, walang nakalagay na grade. Nakalagay lang na pag naipasa mo, natapos mo hanggang final defense, edi you pass it. Kung hindi, edi you fail. Hindi ka naman gagraduate kung binagsak mo siya. So, yun yung 4 na uri ng grading system na nag-i-exist sa mundo ngayon ng edukasyon. Kung may iba pa, ay hindi ko na alam kung ano yun. Question so far? Let's go to developing effective reporting system. So the most critical issue to be addressed in selecting the tools included sa reporting system is what purpose or purposes it is to serve. Bakit ba kailangan mong i-report yung grade? So why we need to convey this information and what we need to accomplish. To determine the purpose or purposes, may tatlong aspeto ng communication na dapat natin kinoconsider. Una, ano ang information or messages na gusto nating iparating? Let's say for example, sa ating mga magulang o sa magulang ng ating mga estudyante. Sino ang primary audience for that message? Kung PTC, edi ang primary audience mo are the parents. How would we like that information or message to be used? Paano ba siya magagamit? No. It is some form of encouragement or as a challenge. So, ano ang mga tools na pwede natin gamitin? We can use, una syempre, the Form 138 ng DepEd. That's the report cards. Yung mga notes na nilalagay natin sa report cards, ang ginagawa ko nung nasa senior high school ako, pag pasado ang grade ng bata, pinapauwi ko sa estudyante. Pero kapag bagsak, kailangan kong ipatawag ang magulang at pumunta sa school. Kung hindi pupunta sa school, ay di ikaw ang pupunta sa bahay. You can also use a standards assessment report. You can use phone calls to parents. Pwede mong tawagan. Yan. Minsan mga pabebe ang mga magulang, di mo ma-reach. O kaya naman weekly and monthly progress reports. O kaya school open houses. Pag open house, edi pwedeng pumasok ang mga magulang, magtanong, mag-inquire. Newsletters to parents, personal letters to parents, evaluated projects or assignments, portfolios or exhibits of students' works or homework assignment, homework hotlines. Lalo ngayon, napakahalaga ng reporting system because of the pandemic. Kasi hindi naman nakakapasok sa school ang ating mga estudyante. Of course, this is very important, the parent-teacher conferences and the student-teacher conferences and the student-led conference. So, guidelines for better practice, begin with a clear statement of purpose. Ano ba ang gagawin at ano ba ang dahilan kung bakit ka nagpapatawag ng pagpupulong? Provide accurate and understandable descriptions of learning and use grading and reporting to enhance teaching and learning. Napakahalaga na maalam mo ang ginagawa mo, ha? Kasi minsan, yung estudyante mo, ang nanay niya, teachers. So alam niyan kung anong mga pinagagagawa sa grado. Kaya make sure na comprehensive ang iyong reporting system. For the parent-teacher conference, the most common way teachers communicate with parents about the student progress, it is typically sa kasalukuyan, hindi posible ang face-to-face discussion. Pwede ring phone conference and calls. So may dalawang uri ng PTC. The first one is the group conferences, maramihan. The second is the individual conferences. Pag ikaw ay nasa teaching profession na, sa basic education, maganda na sa umpisa pa lang ng taon ay nagkakaroon na ng PTC. Usually ginagawa ito ng about first week. Yung Friday, nung first week, doon kinakandak ang PTC hapon alauna. Laging ganun palagi. Yung school and class policies, ipaliwanag sa magulang. Class content, evaluation procedures, ano yung expectations and procedures for getting in touch with teachers. Ang gumagawa nito ay advisors. Kasi kung ang bata ay may 10 subject, alam nga naman 10 PTC ang ipatawag. So you focus, kung advisor ka, you focus with the parents ng iyong advisory class. Kung ikaw din ang advisor, pag bumagsak yan sa isang subject, kahit hindi mo under yung subject na yun, dahil advisory mo siya, edi ikaw rin ang may responsibilidad makipag-usap sa kanyang teacher, kung bakit siya bumagsak, bago ka dumiretso sa parents, at ipa-individual conference mo dun sa teacher yung magulang. You need to prepare for the PTC. I-organize lahat ng information in advance. Ilista lahat ng areas na tungkol sa estudyante na kailangan i-discuss. Kailangan kilala mong estudyante, alam mong strength and weaknesses niya. Conference is not a lecture type, so it is a conversation. You need to listen to the parents. No? And do not offend the parents. Huwag mong sisiraan ang bata sa harapan ng kanyang magulang kasi baka magkagulo kayo. So before the conference, you encourage the parents to review the student work sa bahay bago sila pumunta. Mas schedule ng time na convenient sa inyo at sa kanya. Huwag naman sa oras ng klase. Pero minsan nagkaklase ka, bigla may dumarating na magulang. Ipaunawa sa magulang na kailangan mo munang tapusin ang klase bago mo siya i-entertain. Notify parents well ahead of the scheduled conference time. Mag-provide ng staff development sa mga bagong guro. Consider alternative location, pwedeng sa church mag-usap, sa community center, pwedeng sa mall o sa restaurants. Pero depende sa kakayahan mo. Print conference schedules and materials in multiple languages kung kinakailangan. During conference, mag-provide ka ng child care. Baka may dalang anak yung nanay ay ang gulo sa meeting. Provide refreshments or merienda and transportation kung kinakailangan. Gumamit ka ng multiple samples ng student work when discussing yung grade na ng bata. Makinig ng mabuti at wag gagamit ng educational jargon. Ibig sabihin, yung mga term na ginagamit sa education na alam mong hindi maiintindihan ng iyong mga kaharap na magulang, ay wag mong gamitin. Like say for example, pedagogy ay hindi, ano ba yun? Hindi maintindihan ng magulang. Do not use educational jargon. Communicate expectations at ipaliwanag kung paano po kayo makakatulong nanay. Magandang araw po. Ito po ang unahin lagi sa pakikipag-usap sa mga magulang ay purihin muna ang bata. No? I-recognize ang effort ng nanay. Pasensya na po kung kayo po ay naabala sa araw na ito. Gusto lang po nating pag-usapan ang tungkol po sa performance ng inyong anak. Ang inyo naman pong anak na po, napakabait po niya. Tapos po napakamasun. Ang agap nga po niya pumasa. Yan, you start with the positive things. Develop a system of ongoing communication. Kung pwedeng may chat, may group chat, mas maganda. Huwag mo lang ipapahiya ang bata sa group chat. Provide resources, materials that parents might use at home. After conference, ibigay ang telephone number. Kung ayaw mo at gusto mo may sense of privacy, edi yung telephone number ay kuha ka ng ibang phone number na specific lang for mga official business. Yung personal mo ay di hayaan mo. Minsan kasi, minsan katulad ng mga nangungutang ng mga nanay, minsan nauutangan ka ng nanay, o kaya ginagamit yung number at information mo para gawing co-maker sa kung saan mang utangan, no? Which is, ipaliwanag mo ng mabuti sa orientation yung mga ganyong prohibition. So follow up on any question, plan a time to meet again, encourage parents to discuss conference with their child. Meron kasing nanay na pagdating pa lang, o tatay na pagdating pa lang sa school, galit na sa kanyang anak. No? Huwag mong gagatungan at dadagdagan. Baka pag uwi ng bahay, magbubuga na yung mga mag-ina at mag-ama. So, you pacify, dapat ay laging para sa ikabubuti ng bata ang ating iniisip. Ask parents for written evaluation and debrief with colleagues to look for ways to improve future conferences. Question.
None po, sir.
None. Malinaw po ba ang ating pinag-usapan?
Yes po.
Okay. Let's now proceed with module 9. Matatapos na tayo, which is actually exciting. Ang target ko ay so parang next meeting will be our last topic. Tapos yung remaining time natin, ang target ko, ang TM ay start natin ng January. Kasi may 3 weeks tayo ng January ang gagawin natin nun. So I will allot January for the TM. Yun namang hindi naman natin i-discuss thoroughly si TM. Ang i-focus natin dun ay si assessment ng TM. Tapos, itong natitira nating mga panahon sa assessment ay ilalabi natin sa PED 15 para matapos naman ang ating mga demonstration kasi sa ngayon isa pa lang ang nakakapag-demo. Madami pa kayo. So, yun. And to give you as well time, kung tapos na rin yun, ay yung time naman for the research. So, ito ay December 7 pa ang deadline to give way. Medyo nahuhuli kasi si Comprog. Si Comprog ay nasa module 8 pa lang bukas. So after you have read the K-12 rating of learning outcomes, gradings, relevance, and purpose, you can compare and contrast the old grading and reporting system used in the old curriculum and the current K-12 curriculum being implemented. Use the following aspects as point of comparison and contrast, yung assessment activities and assessment tools na ginagamit to gather evidence for grading, ease of computing, assigning, and reporting of grades, the relevance and meaning of the grades to the students. This is the situation. With the implementation of the K-12 curriculum, analyze... Oh. Ay, sorry. Hindi nyo pala nakikita. Kita na?
Oo, sir.
Okay. So, let me continue. With the implementation of K-12 curriculum, you analyze the grading system that it uses. What other grading methods will be more beneficial? That's a question you need to answer. Analyze each grading method, highlighting the positive points that it may contribute and also the challenges and concerns that may encounter if the grading method is used. Explain your answer. I-highlight nyo yung mga positive points na pwedeng i-contribute ng existing K-12 curriculum in comparison sa ginagamit na grading system noong unang panahon. Ngayon, kung hindi kayo familiar dun sa ginagamit na grading system, yung sa BEC, you can search in the internet kung ano yung ginagamit na yun. Then, tingnan nyo kung ano yung bentahe ng bagong grading system ni K-12. Okay? Mas detalyado ang grading system kung ang hahanapin ninyo ay DepEd order ng lumang curriculum. So, you look for the DepEd order for grading system for BEC or the Basic Education Curriculum. Then explain your answer. Next, this chapter underscores grading under the K-12 curriculum. For this activity, you need to recall and use what you have learned. Ganito lang. Sa written works, pag traditional assessment, ano ang pwede mong ipagawa? Pag authentic assessment, anong pwede mong ipagawa? Magkaiba ito, di ba? Inaralan natin yan. Ano yung traditional at ano yung authentic. Kapag performance task, ano ang pwedeng assessment tool for traditional at anong pwedeng assessment tool for authentic? Kung sinabing assessment tool, di ano yung gagamitin mo? Quiz ba yan? Role play ba yan? Report ba yan? Okay? For quarterly exam, pag traditional assessment tool, edi syempre PPT, ito quarterly exam yan eh. Pero pag authentic assessment tools, ano ang pwedeng alternative na gamitin for quarterly assessment? Okay, you can write as much as you want. Hindi siya limitado sa isa lang. Next, this is effects of grading on students 321. Una, list 3 things you have learned about the effects of grading on students. Ano yung natutunan mo? 1, 2, 3. Sa epekto ng grading sa bata. Then 2, list 2 things you think. Ano yung beneficial effect sa grading? 1 and 2. Yung isa, anong natutunan? Ito, ano yung benefits? Next, maglagay ng isang insight sa epekto ng grading sa bata. What is your insight? That's your personal insight. Third, so magpaplano ka ng parent-teacher conference. Ilagay mo yung iyong planong conference dates. Saan mo gaganapin? Sa school o mas applicable yata sa kasalukuyan, ang gamitin yung contexto ay online. So your venue should be online. Ano ang materials na kailangan mo? Ano ang kailangan mo before the conference? Ano ang ginagawa during the conference? At ano ang kailangan gawin after the conference? No. Pag-textualize it ha, wag po kayong kopyang-kopya dun sa diniscuss kanina before, during, and after. You can use that as your guidelines. 2 box ito, yan, para sa mga detalye ng inyong gustong isulat. Then, you need to create a list of questions that you want to clarify with parents that you will ask during the conference. Provide also the key ideas and questions that you need to discuss during the conference. Habang nagko-conference, isipin nyo na ngayon, as you plan, ano yung mga i-discuss ko? 1 to 5 sa mga magulang. Tapos, ano yung itatanong ko sa magulang? 1 to 5. You need to be ready ahead of time. The last part is the computation. So given the grades provided below of 3 senior high school PVL horticulture students, horticulture is a major or specialization subject. So compute for their average grade sa crop production. Develop a class record for your answer. Yung class record, gusto ko yung katulad nung pinresent kanina na may learner A, learner B, learner C. WW is written work, PT is performance task, QA is quarterly assessment. So ito yung kanilang grade. Then gawa kayo ng class record na para dito. Okay? Question, suggestion, clarification, violent reaction? Meron pa ba?
Wala, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much. This is the first meeting of the day with you. May dalawa pa tayo. I'll be seeing you at 10:30 mamaya for the research. God bless.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you po.